Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Master English. I'm your host, Sarah, and I am so excited that you've chosen to spend some time with me today. Go ahead and get comfortable. Maybe pour yourself a nice cup of coffee or tea, because today we are going to talk about something that I believe is the single most important secret to learning English. It's not about being a genius. It's not about having a special talent for languages. And it's definitely not about studying for 8 hours every day until you are completely exhausted. The secret is much simpler, much kinder, and much more powerful. We're going to talk about your habits. Specifically, we're going to dive into a fantastic, world-famous book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. You may have seen it in bookstores or heard people talking about it. It has sold millions of copies around the world, and for a very good reason. Its ideas can change your life. Now, Atomic Habits isn't a book about learning English. It's a book about how to build good habits and break bad ones in any area of your life, from health and fitness to work and relationships. But today, we are going to look at James Clear's brilliant ideas through one specific lens. How can we use these ideas to create a simple, enjoyable, and sustainable English learning routine? The word atomic in the title has two meanings. First, it means something tiny, like an atom. An atomic habit is a very small, easy-to-do action. Second, it means a source of immense power, like atomic energy. The main idea of the book is that tiny, small changes can lead to remarkable, huge results over time. As James Clear writes in the book, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. Think about that. If you get just 1% better at English every day, after 1 year, you will be 37 times better. It's incredible, right? This isn't about making a giant leap. It's about taking one small step every single day. So, if you have ever felt frustrated with your English progress, if you have ever said, I will study for 3 hours every day and then given up after a week, this episode is for you. We are going to forget about big, scary goals. Instead, we're going to focus on building a system of tiny, easy habits that will carry you toward fluency without burning you out. James Clear breaks down the science of habits into 4 simple laws, 4 steps to building a good habit. They are: 1. Make it obvious. 2. Make it attractive. 3. Make it easy. 4. Make it satisfying. Today, we will explore each of these 4 laws and discover practical tips, tricks, and examples from all over the world that you can use to build your own atomic English learning routine. Are you ready? Let's begin. Part 1. The first law. Make it obvious. How to start without thinking. Let's start with the first and most fundamental law of building a habit. Make it obvious. Imagine you want to start eating more fruit. You buy a big bag of beautiful, fresh apples. If you put those apples in the bottom drawer of your refrigerator, behind the vegetables, what do you think will happen? You'll probably forget they are there. Out of sight, out of mind. But what if you take those apples and put them in a big bowl right in the middle of your kitchen table? Every time you walk into the kitchen, you will see them. They will be obvious. You won't have to remember to eat an apple. The apple will remind you. This is the core idea of the first law. Our environment is one of the most powerful drivers of our behavior. We often think that our habits are a product of our motivation or willpower, but James Clear argues that our environment is often more important. The things we see and the cues around us trigger our habits. As he says in Atomic Habits, you don't have to be the victim of your environment. You can also be the architect of it. So, to build a consistent English learning habit, we need to stop relying on motivation. Instead, we need to become architects of our environment. We need to design a space that makes our English habits so obvious, so visible, that it's easy to start them. How can we do this? Let's look at some practical tips. Practical tips to make your English habit obvious. 1. Design your physical environment. Look around your home. How could you change it to make English more visible? The bedside table. Do you want to read more in English? Don't put your English book on a bookshelf with all your other books. Put it on your bedside table, right on top of your pillow when you make your bed in the morning. When you go to bed at night, you'll have to physically move the book. That's a powerful cue to read at least one page. The coffee machine. Do you want to learn new vocabulary? Write 5 new English words on a sticky note and put it on your coffee machine or your tea kettle. While you wait for your morning drink, you can review the words. The cue, making coffee, is automatically linked to your new habit. The living room. Do you watch TV in the evening? Put the remote control next to an English magazine or a graded reader. Before you turn on the TV, you'll see the magazine, reminding you of your goal. Maybe you'll decide to read for 10 minutes before watching your show. 2. Design your digital environment. In today's world, our digital environment is just as important as our physical one. We spend hours on our phones and computers. We can use this to our advantage. Change your phone's language. This is a classic tip, but it's incredibly powerful. Change the language on your phone to English. At first, it will be a little difficult, but soon you will learn important vocabulary like settings, messages, and call. You will be practicing English every single time you unlock your phone without even trying. 2. Curate your social media. Follow teachers, schools, and creators on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube who post content in English. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad or waste your time. This way, when you open social media for a break, you will be surrounded by English learning opportunities. Your fun time also becomes practice time. 3. Change your browser homepage. Set your internet browser's homepage to an English news website like BBC News, CNN, or The Guardian. Every time you open the internet, you will be greeted with headlines in English. You don't have to read the whole article. Just reading the headlines will expose you to new vocabulary and sentence structures. 3. Use a technique called habit stacking. James Clear offers a simple formula for creating a new habit. After current habit, I will new habit. This is called habit stacking. The idea is to attach your desired English habit to something you already do automatically every day. Your existing habit becomes the obvious cue for the new one. Example from Brazil. In Brazil, drinking a small cup of strong coffee, cafezinho, is a habit for almost everyone, multiple times a day. If you are Brazilian, you could use habit stacking like this. After I finish my morning cafezinho, I will listen to one song in English and write down the new words I hear. Other examples? After I brush my teeth in the morning, I will say 3 sentences in English about my plans for the day. When I sit down on the train for my commute, I will open my language learning app. After I put my dinner in the microwave, I will review my English flashcards for 2 minutes. The key is that you are not relying on memory. Your old habit automatically triggers the new one. An interesting example of making cues obvious comes from the railway system in Japan. Train operators use a system called shisa konko, which translates to pointing and calling. They physically point at important signals and say the state of the signal out loud. For example, they point at a speed sign and say, "Speed is 100 kilometers per hour." This makes the cue obvious and conscious, dramatically reducing errors. We can do the same for our habits. By designing our environment, we are pointing and calling to our brain what we should do next. By making your English habits obvious, you reduce the need for motivation. You make it the easy, natural next step. Part 2. The second law, make it attractive. How to enjoy the process. Okay, so you've made your English habit obvious. You have a book on your pillow and a sticky note on your coffee machine. But what happens when you see the cue and you think, "Ugh, I don't feel like it"? This is where the second law comes in. Make it attractive. Humans are motivated by the anticipation of a reward. Our brains produce a chemical called dopamine when we expect to get something we like. This is why we crave things like delicious food, watching a good movie, or scrolling through social media. The more attractive an activity is, the more likely it is to become a habit. The problem is that the reward for many good habits is delayed. The reward for eating a healthy salad is a healthier body in the future. The reward for studying English today is being able to speak fluently months or years from now. But the reward for eating a chocolate cake is immediate pleasure. So, we need to find a way to make our English habits more attractive in the present moment. We need to give our brains that little hit of dopamine. As James Clear puts it, the more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit-forming. How can we make reviewing grammar or learning vocabulary as attractive as watching Netflix? We can use a strategy called temptation bundling. The power of temptation bundling is a concept that comes from research by Catherine Milkman at the University of Pennsylvania. The strategy is simple. You link an action you want to do with an action you need to do. The formula is, after habit I need, I will habit I want. Or even better, I will only habit I want while I habit I need. This way, you start to look forward to your English practice because it's paired with something you love. Practical tips to make your English habit attractive. 1. Bundle your temptations. Think about your guilty pleasures or the things you love to do every day. Now, how can you connect them to your English practice? Love watching Netflix? Make a rule. I can only watch my favorite series in English with English subtitles. Or, for every 30 minutes of Netflix I watch in my native language, I will first watch a 10-minute YouTube video in English. Love listening to music or podcasts? Find a great English podcast on a topic you are passionate about, like true crime, comedy, or science. Make a rule. I can only listen to podcasts while I'm walking my dog or exercising, and my podcast for the week must be in English. Love a special kind of coffee or tea? Make a rule. I can only drink my favorite expensive coffee while I am doing my 15-minute English lesson on my app. You will start to crave your English lesson because you associate it with that delicious coffee. 2. Join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. One of the most powerful human desires is the desire to belong. 13. We want to be part of a group. We naturally copy the habits of the people around us. Example from Spain. In Spain, going out for tapas with friends is a huge part of the culture. It's a social and fun activity. Imagine if you could find a group of people who meet for coffee or a meal, but the rule is they only speak in English. Suddenly, practicing English is not a chore you do alone in your room. It's a fun, social event you look forward to. How to do this? Find a language exchange partner online or in your city. Join an English book club or a movie club. Find an online community or forum for English learners who share your hobbies. If you love gardening, find an English-speaking online gardening group. You will practice your English while talking about something you love. When you see other people doing the habit every day, it seems normal and attractive. As Charles Duhigg writes in his book, The Power of Habit, when people join groups where change seems possible, the potential for that change to occur becomes more real. 3. Reframe your mindset. The words you use to describe your habits can change how you feel about them. Instead of thinking, I have to practice my English, try changing your perspective. Change I have to I get to. Instead of, I have to study grammar, think, I get to learn how to express my ideas more clearly. Instead of, I have to memorize vocabulary, think, I get to discover new words that will unlock new books and movies for me. This small change in language reframes the activity from a burden to an opportunity. It makes it more attractive. By making your English routine attractive, you are changing it from something you should do into something you want to do. You are working with your brain's natural desire for pleasure, not against it. Part 3. The third law. Make it easy. The path of least resistance. So far, we've made our English habit obvious and attractive. But there's still one major enemy of all good habits: friction. Friction is all the little things that stand between you and doing the habit. If your running shoes are buried in the back of your closet, that's friction. If your language app takes 30 seconds to load, that's friction. Humans are naturally lazy. We will almost always choose the option that requires the least amount of effort. James Clear calls this the law of least effort. This is the third law. Make it easy. You don't want to rely on feeling heroic or motivated to do your English practice. You want to make it so simple, so easy to start that you can't say no. As Clear writes, the idea is to make your habits as easy as possible to start. Anyone can meditate for 1 minute, read 1 page, or put 1 piece of clothing away. This is a powerful strategy because once you've started doing the right thing, it is much easier to continue doing it. This leads to his most practical and famous strategy, the 2-minute rule. The power of the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule is simple. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The goal here is not to get amazing results in 2 minutes. The goal is to master the art of showing up. A habit must be established before it can be improved. Read a book every night becomes read 1 page. Study English for an hour becomes open my notebook. Watch a movie in English becomes watch the first 2 minutes of a YouTube video in English. Anyone can read 1 page. Anyone can open their notebook. By making it this easy, you remove the friction that stops you from starting. And often, once you start, you'll find you want to continue. Reading 1 page often turns into reading 10 pages. Opening your notebook often leads to a 15-minute study session. But even if it doesn't, you have still succeeded. You have shown up. You have cast a vote for your new identity as an English learner. Practical tips to make your English habit easy. 1. Reduce the friction. Think about your English habit. What are the steps involved? How can you make them simpler? Prepare in advance. If you want to use a vocabulary app in the morning, open the app on your phone before you go to sleep. When you wake up, it will be the first thing you see, ready to go. No friction. Create a go bag. If you want to study on your commute, prepare a small bag with your English book, a notebook, and a pen. Keep it by the door. Just grab it and go. Master one thing at a time. Don't try to master listening, speaking, reading, and writing all at once. Focus on one small, easy habit. Once that habit is automatic, you can build on it. 2. Use technology to your advantage. We can use technology to make things easier for us. Podcasts. Listening to a podcast is incredibly easy. You can do it while you are driving, cooking, cleaning, or exercising. You just press play. Find a podcast for B1 learners and subscribe. The new episodes will download automatically. Zero friction. Browser extensions. Install a dictionary extension like Google Dictionary on your web browser. When you are reading an article in English and you see a word you don't know, you can just double-click on it to see the definition. You don't have to stop and open a different website. 3. Prime your environment. This is related to making it obvious, but it's about preparing for the action. Example from Sweden. Swedish culture, and Scandinavian design in general, often values simplicity and functionality, a concept known as lagom, meaning just the right amount. 16. We can apply this to our habits. Don't clutter your desk with 10 different English books. Choose one. Open it to the page you will read tomorrow. Put a pen on it. You have primed the environment to make starting as easy as possible. The third law is counterintuitive. We think we should go big or go home, but the truth is, the people who stick with their habits are the ones who make them easy. They respect the law of least effort and use it to their advantage. Start with 2 minutes. Show up. Consistency is more important than intensity. Part 4. The fourth law. Make it satisfying. How to stick with it. We have arrived at the final and most important law. Make it satisfying. A habit needs to be enjoyable if you want it to last. The human brain is wired to repeat behaviors that bring pleasure and satisfaction. This is the cardinal rule of behavior change. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. The problem we discussed earlier is that the reward for good habits is often in the future. The satisfaction of speaking fluent English is months or years away.
but our brains want a reward right now. Therefore, the fourth law states that we need to find a way to give ourselves an immediate, satisfying reward after we complete our habit. This feeling of success is a signal to your brain that says, "Hey, that was good. Let's do that again." As James Clear explains, in the beginning, you need a reason to stay on track. This is why immediate rewards are essential. They keep you excited while the delayed rewards accumulate in the background. So, how can we create this feeling of immediate satisfaction with our English habits? Practical tips to make your English habit satisfying. 1. Use a habit tracker. A habit tracker is a simple way to measure your progress. It can be a calendar, a notebook, or an app. Every time you complete your habit, you put a big X on that day. Why it works? It's obvious. The tracker is a visual cue that reminds you to act. It's attractive. Seeing the chain of X's grow is motivating. You don't want to break the chain. It's satisfying. The act of making that X is a small, immediate reward. It feels like a little victory. A famous story tells of comedian Jerry Seinfeld. When he was starting out, he decided he wanted to write better jokes. So he made a rule to write a new joke every single day. He got a big wall calendar and a red marker. For every day that he completed his task, he got to draw a big red X. After a few days, he had a chain. "Your only job," he said, "is not to break the chain." This simple system is satisfying and incredibly effective. 2. Add a little reward. After you finish your English practice, give yourself a small, immediate treat. This is different from temptation bundling, which helps you start the habit. This is a reward that comes after. Examples. After I finish my 15-minute vocabulary review, I will make myself a cup of my favorite tea. After I have a 30-minute conversation in English with my language partner, I get to spend 10 minutes on Instagram guilt-free. After I finish a chapter in my English book, I will put $1 in a jar. At the end of the month, I can use that money to buy myself a new book. The reward doesn't have to be big. It just needs to be immediate and make you feel good.
Number 3, track your progress in a meaningful way. Don't just track that you did the habit. Find a way to see the progress you are making. This is deeply satisfying. The paperclip method. This is a famous story from a young stockbroker who was learning his craft. Every morning, he would have 2 jars on his desk. One was filled with 120 paperclips. The other was empty. After each sales call he made, he would move 1 paperclip from the full jar to the empty jar. The goal was not to focus on making sales, but to simply make the calls. Seeing the pile of paperclips move was a visual and satisfying measurement of his effort. Your English version. You could do this with vocabulary. Put 10 marbles or beans in 1 bowl. Every time you review a new word, move 1 to the other bowl. The visual progress is incredibly satisfying. Record yourself. Once a month, record yourself speaking English for 1 minute. After 3 or 4 months, go back and listen to the first recording. You will be amazed at how much you have improved. This feeling of progress is the ultimate satisfaction and will keep you motivated. The 4th law closes the habit loop. It trains your brain to associate your English routine with positive feelings, making it more likely you'll repeat it tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. Conclusion: you are what you repeat.
So, there we have it. The 4 laws of behavior change from James Clear's Atomic Habits, applied directly to your English learning journey. Let's do a quick recap. First law, make it obvious. Design your environment so your English habit is the easiest choice. Use habit stacking. Second law, make it attractive. Pair your English habit with something you love. Join a community. Third law, make it easy. Reduce friction. Start with the 2-minute rule. Master the art of showing up. Fourth law, make it satisfying. Track your progress. Give yourself an immediate reward. Feel good about your effort. These 4 laws work together to create a powerful system for building habits that last. They shift the focus from chasing big, scary goals like become fluent to building a simple, sustainable system like read 1 page of English every day. As the great philosopher Aristotle, a different wise man from our last episode, famously said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Your fluency in English will not be the result of one heroic act of studying for 10 hours. It will be the result of thousands of tiny, atomic habits repeated day after day. A page read here, a new word learned there, a 2-minute video watched over coffee. Each one is a small victory, a vote for the person you want to become. So here is your final challenge for today. Don't try to implement all of these ideas at once. That would go against the 3rd law. Choose one, just one. What is one tiny 2-minute habit you can start today to make your English learning more obvious, attractive, easy, or satisfying? Maybe you'll put an English book on your pillow right now. Maybe you'll change your phone language. Maybe you'll text a friend and ask them to be your English practice partner. Whatever it is, make it small, make it easy, and start today, because the journey to fluency is not a sprint, it's a marathon built of tiny, consistent steps. Thank you for joining me on Let's Master English. You have the blueprint. Now go be the architect of your habits. Until next time, keep practicing and keep learning.